Immediate notice, the startup procedure for the Proton Reactor Mark III has been primed. All personnel currently within the chamber must vacate immediately. Attention all control room personnel, the Proton Reactor Mark III startup sequence has been initiated. At this time, all personnel must evacuate the reactor chamber. Startup will initiate in T-30 seconds. Turning on chamber lights. Please stand by. Filling fuel solution into power laser, beta. Filling fuel solution into power laser, alpha. Reactor startup imminent. Diverting facility power to the proton reactor. Turning on reactor lights. Creating reactor shield. Preparing systems for reactor ignition. Calibration complete. Fuel generation active. Critical systems stable. Ready for ignition. Powering lasers. Startup successful. All power has been successfully restored. All personnel may resume normal operations. Warning, the Proton Reactor Mark III's temperature has reached critical levels. All control room personnel are advised to cool the reactor down immediately to prevent damage and/or harm. Immediate danger. Shield deterioration detected in the proton reactor. A nuclear meltdown is possible. All control room personnel are advised to cool down the reactor immediately. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Warning, the proton reactor is expected to become critically unstable at shield integrity, 15%. Cool down the proton reactor immediately. This is not a drill. Facility Director. All personnel, please halt all of your operations immediately and await further instructions. An evacuation of the facility is possible. Temperature sensors, failure. Shield integrity, failure. Safeguard systems, failure. Manual termination required. Light filling detected, unable to connect. Warning, this is a code red emergency. The termination sequence for the proton reactor battery is now available. All reactor personnel are advised to manually shut down the reactor as soon as possible. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Immediate notice. An automated request to arm emergency bunkers Alpha, Beta, has been transmitted from main server farm. A. All personnel nearby or inside emergency bunkers. Please await instructions from the bunker command center. Immediate danger. Effective immediately. All personnel assigned to proton reactor operation are reclassified under socio-engagement. Level 3. A serious threat is now present and must be resolved immediately by responsible personnel. All non-essential staff are advised to evacuate the facility immediately via emergency bunkers Alpha and Beta and avoid